if any of you were betting men, you would have won something today. Kush Bora and Aditya Agarwala. Aditya Shah, you said you don't really care, but 26,000 has been hit on the Nifty. We've hit the all-time high, guys. Slid slightly down, but here 26004 is the mark that I saw. This is stupendous. Whatever it may be, Harsh, I know it's just a number, but the fact that we have galloped to 26,000 with such ease in the last few trading sessions. I mean, look at the momentum we saw on Friday.
Yes.
Building on from there. And 26011, I'm sorry, 26,011 is the new mark and the new pinnacle for the Nifty. Let's see what's leading the pack. Let's pull up the heat map there and see what the winners are, the Nifty contributors, who's pulling up, which stocks are pulling up the Nifty right now. Tata Steel, Hindalco. And you know, the fantastic thing I think about this in a way is that you've seen that 26,000 mark without any active participation of the banks. Just 37 sessions in that 1,000-point rally from 25,000 to 26,000. Let's get some interesting voices up on, talking about what we can see here. But just Nifty contributors, if we can, for a second. I just want to pull up Nifty contributors for a second and see what's really pulled up the markets this afternoon. Yes, it is an HDFC Bank with 17 points up. But, this is something that can be a heavy lifter at the best of times. Abhay Agarwala on the phone with us right now. Abhay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Hi, congratulations. Exciting times. Exciting times. I know you're a market veteran who's seen many, many milestones hit. Is this one special because of the speed and the fact that so many domestic investors have contributed to it?
Yeah, and congratulations to every market participant, who has stayed invested, who has shown faith in the, most difficult times. I remember not that far back in May of 22, and there was, an FPI exodus, and a lot of retail investors were told that, look, FPIs are leaving the country and, they are exiting and they're very smart. So maybe retail should also cut positions and wait for better times. I'm glad that, the retail investors and the domestic investors did not do that. They continued, to invest in a very sensible manner through SIPs and other modes. And I think the result is for us to see that, we're all very confident on the longer term, expectations from India's returns. There will be volatility on the way, but it is remarkable to see, new levels being created and international investors' interest getting spiked in Indian equities.
Yeah, right. Abhay, this is Harsh also joining in. Of course, we've done really well through this year. Do you believe earnings compounding can keep up with the kind of valuations and numbers and benchmarks that we are breaching on a daily basis?
We seem to have lost the line. Abhay, can you hear us?
Yeah, that is right, Harsh. I think what is going to happen is that there will obviously be times when there will be profit booking and the markets will slide. There will be bouts of volatility. But I think if you look at the longer term trend, if you look at 2-year cycles or 3-year cycles, the trend is constantly up despite the bouts of profit booking in between. So valuations in India have always been questioned, but at the same time, we are a small economy by global standards, fastest growing economy. So if the global investors have to look at one place that they can bet with a lot of conviction for the next decade of growth in earnings, it is India. So I'm not surprised that, the kind of reduction in cost of capital globally will drive money to emerging markets. And I think India will continue to be a major beneficiary of that flow of capital.
Abhay, that flow of capital that we're talking about, the question is where is it coming? And just when we hit the 26,000 pound, we were talking about how banks have not quite participated. I mean, HDFC Bank doing well on the Nifty as a key contributor, but in general, banks have been a little tepid. Do you think that up move is yet to be seen in this current phase of a bull run?
I think there will be some catch-up rally there, but I think clearly the investors are now focusing on where will next 3 to 5 years of growth will come from. And I think you will see emergence of new sectors that are now gearing up for a rally, and these include clean energy, green energy, will be a major beneficiary of new capital flow. You will see money coming into semiconductor companies. You will see money coming into companies that are using drone tech or satellite-based navigation systems. So I think a lot of new sectors will open up in India, and I'm glad to see the kind of listings that are taking place because it is giving a wider canvas for Indian and global investors to back Indian companies. So I think while the traditional sectors like autos and banks will continue to get regular flows, I think the next 5-year story is more in the emerging sectors where you will see a lot of replacement of imports, especially from China, in complex electronics, in APIs, in contract manufacturing of drugs for global players. So I think some of these sectors will see a massive outperformance over the next 3 to 5 years.
Abhay, I just want to touch upon flows because it's funny because you've seen retail flows really guiding the Nifty to this benchmark. What happens when foreign flows participate along with retail flows? I mean, just wanting to fathom that.
Yeah, I think Harsh, what will happen is, I guess, close to what is happening now, because if you look at it, the FPI holding fell to like a 12-year low recently when it went down to just about 17% from more than 20%. So which means that by historical benchmarks, the FPI holding in Indian stocks is at more than a decade low. I don't think it can stay there. I don't think it has room to fall further. So what we are seeing is, the FPI is kind of, if I can use the phrase, throwing in the towel and saying, look, we cannot be underinvested in India and we have to back the Indian story. So in September, we have already seen almost, $10 billion of FPI's flows come in after a long period of time. And that has taken the market very sharply from 25,000 to 26,000 levels now. I think I can't call a reversal on that. I think that will continue to be the case because there is a lot of global liquidity that is kicking around that still needs to get invested somewhere. And I think if China reflates, India will also be a beneficiary of that. So I think the emerging market flows and India flows will continue to be strong, Harsh.
And what are the sectors that you are liking, or some of the stocks that are on top of the heap? You talked about semiconductors briefly, Abhay. Is that the general direction? The smart money looking at where the policy push is?
No, I think the smart money will definitely back the policy push. And the good thing is that the government's policy push has been very clear for the last almost 10 years. When the whole PLI scheme started for different sectors, we saw it start with electronics to replace China imports, and big beneficiaries were companies like Dixon, where the stock went up from like 700 rupees to 14,000 rupees now. And I think in India, investors who have traditionally backed with patience government's policy direction, have made money, and new companies, new sectors have emerged from that. So I think where we are bullish right now is, obviously semiconductor, drone, and anything that caters to defense, because I think in defense, India is underinvested a lot. We are like almost 20 years behind China. There's a lot of catch-up investing that needs to be done by our defense forces. So I think that will create new winners in that space, in private company space. And then we are quite bullish on insurance space, because I think insurance is another sector that government will have to push and support, to make sure that, there is less burden on the government machinery to provide healthcare support. So there are sectors. The battery space is another one we like, because electrification of vehicles is something that is going to give the battery manufacturers, especially on the EV side, a lot of support. So I think one needs to just focus on these new emerging opportunities where government is very focused, doing a lot of stuff, and I think the results will be there to see in a couple of years' time.
Thank you so much, Abhay Agarwal, MD of Piper Serica there, and thank you, Abhay, for the quick, take on what is definitely momentous. We're sliding off after that. Some, fatigue setting in. So look at the intraday chart, and you're seeing the Nifty come off that 26,000 mark. That's all right. That was to be expected. But 26,011 is your new summit as far as the Nifty is concerned. Bajaj Auto, Shriram Finance, Bharti Airtel, Bajaj Finserv have risen the most in the last 1,000-point rally and have been some of the top gainers. Top gainers, in fact, include HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Bharti Airtel. They're the top contributors to the Nifty's 1,000-point gain. So obviously the heavyweights. This is despite ICICI Bank really, taking a breather, yes, in yesterday's trade, but Bharti Airtel definitely and HDFC Bank, some of the top contributors.